What's up, everyone? It's Anna, also known as that Star Wars girl, and today I thought that I would be talking to you guys about an astronaut movie with Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt has taken a break from acting for a while, it seems like, to me at least, because when I grew up, he was, the hit star, like the macho man in every single new movie, and then he decided to marry Angelina Jolie, and they decided to have a litter of children, and so, I understand being a parent, that comes first, as compared to, acting and being, the leading man in all these Hollywood blockbusters. I totally get it. Family comes first, but now Brad Pitt is back, and he's making a pretty big comeback, being in all these movies. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, great movie, really highlighted Brad Pitt in that movie. You'd think it was a movie about Leo, but Brad Pitt stole the freaking show in that movie. That was Brad Pitt's freaking movie. And now Brad Pitt is going to be an astronaut in the new Ad Astra movie, where his father was an astronaut, something happened in outer space, gotta go save human race, but his dad lost context, now it's up to Brad Pitt to go finish his father's work. Sounds like a pretty straightforward astronaut movie, right? Right? I grew up loving space movies my entire childhood. I always dreamed of going into outer space, of being an astronaut. That moment in Independence Day when Will Smith is on the alien ship with Jeff Goldblum and they're going into outer space, they're leaving Earth's atmosphere, and he said, "I've been waiting my whole life for this." I was like, me too, Will Smith, me too. I feel you right there. So, even as a little girl, just because, Brad Pitt was not Brad Pitt, Will Smith was a black man, a full-grown black man, as a little girl watching it, I related to that character in that moment. I never felt repressed or oppressed because I was a woman or I was a little girl at the time. But apparently, this new movie with Brad Pitt is full of toxic masculinity. So we're going to go read this article and learn just how us women are being oppressed by the toxic masculinity that is in an astronaut movie about a father and son. Let's go check it out. Alright, everyone, I have this article pulled up. It is from The Guardian. Alright. So let's scroll down here. Fly Men to the Moon, Ad Astra and Toxic Masculinity of Space Films. Lovely. Right off the bat, we know what this article is going to be about. Do you think it's biased? Maybe just a tiny bit. Just a little bit. Oh, but this is by Steve Rose, so a man wrote this. Wow. Male feminist alert. Brad Pitt's saga is the latest sci-fi film to fall back on stereotypes of heroic men and emotional women. Wow. Has this dude seen the movie yet? And you know what? I'm just gonna say it right here, right here, right now. Women are freaking emotional. Men are emotional too, but sometimes stereotypes are based on realities of life, and that's why they are stereotypes. It's not uncommon for women to be freaking emotional. I grew up with a house of sisters and my mom. The only dude in my house was my dad. We're all emotional. There's nothing wrong with a woman being emotional, and there's nothing wrong with men being heroic. Let's get that right off the back right there. Women can be emotional and heroic. Men can be emotional too and heroic. There's nothing wrong with people having emotional, qualities about their personalities and, heroic qualities about their personalities. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know why this is, such a horrible thing in today's society. Oh my God, a man's heroic. Oh, well, would you rather have him be villainous? Would you rather have a woman not show any kind of emotion and be stoic all the time? What kind of movie do you want to watch? Brad Pitt has not minced his words while talking about his new space epic Ad Astra, in which he plays a stoic, closed-off astronaut with daddy issues. Lovely! I think this person might have just watched the trailer, because that's what I got. I mean, I didn't feel like he was too stoic. I felt like it was an appropriate amount of stoicness. That makes sense. But yeah, who wouldn't have daddy issues if your dad was an astronaut, took off in outer space to go save the human race on this top secret mission, and you haven't spoken to him in 15 years because he disappeared? I would have issues about losing my father like that too. There's nothing wrong with that. He's burying his emotions deep down inside. So when the breakout moment happens in this film, it's probably going to be epic because Brad Pitt's character has been storing it all within himself. This already it sounds like a great movie. I'm actually really excited to see this movie. I don't know what this person's point is, but let's continue. What we were really digging at was the definition of masculinity. Oh, lovely. And guys, there is absolutely nothing wrong with men being masculine. There's nothing wrong with it. So the way that media has been playing it, oh my gosh, it's toxic because that guy is masculine. And no, I mean, I don't know any woman that wants, a man to be, more feminine than she is. Like, I feel like that's a very specific type of people that prefers that. But I mean, as long as you're happy in your life, it doesn't matter. If it makes you happy to be a man that's more feminine, and if it makes you happy to be a man that's, the most masculine definition of masculine possible, good for you, as long as you're happy in your own life. But I don't know why it's so, like, in your face in the media that, oh my gosh, he's masculine, he's toxic. It doesn't make any sense to me. He recently stated and lamented having grown up in an era where we were taught to be strong, but not show weakness. Don't be disrespected. That is a bang-on message with #MeTooHollywood. But Astra also brings home how gendered the space films have always been. Holy freaking shit. Okay, I'm just going to tell you this right now. Let's see. Having grown up in an era where we were taught to be strong, not to show weakness, don't be disrespected. I'm going to tell you right there, I know I'm a lot younger than Brad Pitt, but I totally understand what that generation, I understand. That was a lot in my life. It's like, do you want to sit here and cry about it, or do you want to be strong? Do you want to, it's one of those things where it's like, suck it up and, get over it. And, maybe that way you can cry later. Stuff has to get done. You can cry later. That's something that I've always known. Like, even when I was a kid, it's like, okay, your bike broke and it fell on you. Okay, well, get the bike off you. Go inside. Yeah, you can cry. Have mom put, the rubbing alcohol on it to disinfect it. Put the Band-Aid on. But, you got to get that bike off of you first. You can't just lay there and cry while a bike is broken on top of you. You have to get up. You have to keep moving. You can't just stop. And yeah, sometimes it's going to be hard when you throw, you're not throwing a temper tantrum, but when you're crying because you're in pain, it's like, yes, you can cry. You can express the fact that you're in pain, but, get up, get it off you, keep moving. You're not going to survive if you just lay there and, with everything piled on top of you. You're not. You have to keep moving. You have to keep going. And I know men are a little bit different. From my own experience in life, I 100% expect my mother to have an emotional reaction to something as compared to my father. Unless it's humor, then I expect my father to have the emotional reaction first, then my mother. But it's just every single human being is different, and everyone responds to things differently. But saying that Ad Astra also brings home how gendered the space films have always been. What are you talking about? When I think of a space film, what is behind me? Oh yeah, that's right, Star Wars. Guess who's the first person you meet in outer space that's not C-3PO or R2-D2? The first human. Yeah, guess what? It's Princess freaking, well yeah, you get to see the bad guys, but the first hero is Princess Leia. She is in outer space. She is on the spaceship. The first heroic character you see, that's a humanoid, or I guess C-3PO can be considered a humanoid because that's his form, but it's Princess Leia. Princess freaking Leia. You go and watch stuff like Star Trek. You have Captain Janeway. You have 7 and 9. You can even go back to the original series. Ahura. You have all the yeomans. I mean, Star Trek is full of women. So I don't understand what this is going to. And I mean, you can talk about what movies that are in outer space. Outer space. Okay. Alien. Look, you got Sigourney Weaver. You have freaking Ripley. Ripley that takes down the freaking alien. And I mean, the beginning of that movie, you don't even really know who's the main character. You're kind of following it through. I always thought that the main, or at least I remember when I first watched it, I thought, it was going to be the captain that was more of the main one. But my parents kept mentioning, oh yeah, watch her. And I'm like, okay, well, you kind of feel like the captain is the leader. Or you're going to be the, main, I wouldn't say mainer, but this. You're going to follow his journey more than anyone because he's the captain. It's typically the captain. But no, it's freaking Sigourney Weaver. There's so many movies about outer space that, before all this nonsense happened in our society where it's like, you have to be this, you have to be that. It was pretty damn equal to me. And you can argue, well, there was more men in Star Wars. Well, guess what? It only took one woman to do a job that, took men, how many men to do this job? Guess what? It only took Princess Leia to run the rebels. Only Princess Leia. Yeah, her father died. Guess what? She took up the mantle. Strong female character in outer space. Wow, I feel so repressed. So repressed. Let's continue. Actually minded films from this genre. Lovely. So this person is running on facts. The Right Stuff, Apollo 13, First Man. Oh, I get what they mean. I loved Apollo 13. First Man have had little choice but to reflect the male-dominated reality, but men have also dominated the more far-fetched solo missions. Moon, The Martian. Hated The Martian. I'm so mad about The Martian still. I shouldn't say I hate the film. It was just something happened at the ending of The Martian, and I didn't get to finish the movie when I was in the theaters, and I'm still bitter about it, and I still haven't watched the end, so I don't know how it ends. But still, I'm bitter about the memory. That was, 5 years ago when that came out. Still mad. and there's women in that! The captain is that as a woman! Oh my god. And team efforts such as 2001 or Space Cowboys. Oh, I love Space Cowboys. They're just listing off a bunch of good movies. The latter hit the nail on the head. The Final Frontier was an extension of the Wild Western one, a realm of macho ruggedness where any hint of emotion could jeopardize the mission. This was man's work. Women could make do with concerned wife back on Earth rules. Really? And if this made for somewhat dull heroes, blame NASA's psychological screening program. Bro, if you ever researched what the psychological what they do to you, it's freaking intense. I know, because even when I was in high school, I thought I was going to become an astronaut. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to become an astronaut. And then I learned all the shit. Well, you have to go through so much shit. And I wasn't tall enough. So it's like, even if I could get through all the, the trials that they make you go through, I don't even meet the height requirement. They wouldn't let me on the ride. Now that's just a sucky reality of life. It's you would think they would want the smallest people to go into outer space, right? Because, we take up less space. I'm small. I don't need a lot of space. I can fit in the tiny little box in outer space. Just let me go up there, NASA. But nope. And, math. But still, there is nothing wrong with men being macho. There's nothing wrong with it. And yeah, Space Cowboys was fun. It's showing about the guys that, they're the only ones that can fix it because the technology is advanced so much. So let's go get all the old dudes back and let's put them into outer space. It was a fun movie. There was nothing wrong with that. And I mean, half the time it's funny just to watch them all cheating on the test. Oh yeah, they have all their, really big glasses on, but then, they memorize the eye chart. None of them can see, but they memorize it. That was hilarious. That was a good movie. I didn't care that it was Clint Eastwood being Clint Eastwood. Heck, the reason why Clint Eastwood is so iconic is because he is that macho, heroic man. Or, I guess, sometimes you can argue he's an anti-hero, but still, that's something that's so iconic about Clint Eastwood, and he wouldn't be iconic if people didn't like it. So there's nothing wrong with, men being that typical macho man hero. There's nothing wrong with it. And I didn't even get that impression from this trailer of Ad Astra. And there's nothing wrong with a wife being concerned about her husband when he's going into outer space. Hell, if I knew anyone that is going into outer space, I'd be concerned. Every single time I hear that astronauts are being sent up, I'm concerned, because I remember when I was a kid and what happened with all those astronauts. That horrible thing. But it's scary. It's scary to go into outer space. It doesn't just have to be a woman worried about her husband. It doesn't have to be, children worried about their father. The entire world, I'm pretty sure, that at least me giving the world, not all the people in it, the benefit of the doubt, we all kind of hold our breath the second that we hear, oh, people are going into outer space or people are re-entering the atmosphere. It's very, very dangerous, and people have died doing it. So there's nothing wrong with somebody being concerned. There's nothing wrong with women being emotional. And I don't know what this whole thing is about. It's saying, oh, toxic masculinity, but this is a man writing an article shaming women for being emotional over somebody that they love going and doing something dangerous. That's ridiculous, and that's sexist. Women are allowed to be concerned over their husbands. There's nothing wrong with it. Let's see. Women in space have often been outstarred counters to all the testosterone. Not true. Emotional, intuitive, vulnerable, more likely to be found in their underwear. What? Princess Leia, the only time you saw Princess Leia in anything that we could consider underwear type is the gold bikini. Princess Leia is wearing a turtleneck in Star Wars. In Star Trek, all the women are wearing their clothes. The person that shows the most skin half the time, the Enterprise women, all the women in Starfleet are wearing their clothes unless they encounter an alien race that puts them into another costume. Captain Kirk is the one who's always getting his shirt ripped off and cut open, and you're seeing Captain Kirk in his full freaking glory. All the women are wearing freaking clothes. Princess Leia's wearing clothes. Let's see, well, what other movies did I mention in outer space? Independence Day, guess what? They're all wearing freaking clothes, except the one girl that, she's a stripper, but she's not going in outer space, so I guess you can niche that one. Think of Sandra Bullock and her Zero Gravity, Tears in Gravity. Okay, I didn't actually watch Gravity. I don't know, there was something about that movie that was off. There was a lack of interest there. I don't know what it is, but maybe it's because, I don't know, I still don't have any interest in watching it, but I think that's because the ending got ruined for me. But just when it was coming out, there was something there that I was like, I don't know, it just didn't feel right. Or Jodie Foster in Contact. When did Jodie Foster ever wear underwear in Contact? That's a great movie, by the way. I love that movie. Why didn't I think of that earlier? Oh, it's a good movie. She's in a freaking spacesuit. Wait. Most likely to be found in their underwear. So apparently that's all this person focuses on, is that women are emotional, intuitive, and vulnerable. Those are all qualities that can fit either men or women. Yes, that is more things that I would associate with a woman, or you could, vulnerable, that's anyone that's going into outer space on a space mission. It's dangerous. You're all going to be vulnerable to alien attacks, or the dangers of just being out and exposed to outer freaking space. That's normal. But more likely to be found in their underwear, I didn't see Gravity, so I don't know what happens in that movie except for the ending, because somebody ruined it for me. Jodie Foster wore clothing in Contact. The only thing that I can think of is, Princess Leia in the gold bikini, and she's not in outer space during that scene. Every single time Princess Leia is in outer space, she's fully clothed. Star Trek, they are fully clothed. So this person is focusing on finding in their underwear, and I can see this next sentence. Even Sigourney Weaver's Ripley started off as a vulnerable female in her underwear in Alien. So did everyone else. So did the other woman, so did all the men. They were all in their underwear. It's not just Sigourney Weaver that's in her underwear. And she ends up in their underwear at the end of the movie because you have to be in your underwear. Well, technically, she's wearing a tank top and she's wearing undies. Okay, so she's wearing her tank top, she's not wearing a bra. So she's, I wouldn't consider a tank top. She's in her jammies. I would say that, because that's typically what I don't know, all the things that you see for ads, like all these fancy schmancy nightgowns. I don't know any woman that actually wears that. Most women just wear a t-shirt and their undies to bed. At least in my grasp of what women wear when they go to sleep. All the women that I know, that's what we wear when we go to sleep. Unless you're trying to impress someone, you don't wear the fancy schmancy nightgowns. You literally wear a tank top if it's hot outside or hot inside, you don't have a fan, or a t-shirt and some undies. Not out of the blue. So Sigourney Weaver wearing a tank top and undies, she's in her PJs. All the men wearing their boxers and a wife beater. They're all wearing it. They're all. If you want to use that as an example, you didn't watch the movie because you didn't freaking pay attention, or this dude's just a perv, and that's the only thing he focused on is like, oh my gosh, there's a woman that's wearing undies and a tank top and no bra. He didn't focus on any other men. So all that tells me is that the guy that's writing this article is the misogynist one, because he didn't take in mind that all the men were in their undies too. He just focused on the woman. So this dude that's writing this article is extremely misogynist. He looks down on women that have emotions, and he thinks that there's something wrong with men being masculine. So all this is doing is showing that he's trying to pander to the shill media. He's trying to, fill those little SJW social gaps, and then attacking women and men for qualities that are normal for them to have, and then just focusing on things that expose him for what he really is. So all this is doing is bringing forward that, what is this guy's name? Steve Rose is I guess the definition of a misogynist. So Steve Rose has issues. So what else does Steve Rose have to say? Oh, he's got a lot to say apparently. All right, let's see. Let's see how much worse this can get. Next up, Lucy in the Sky sees Natalie Portman as a NASA astronaut transformed by her first mission and desperate to return, although her affair with colleague John Hamm, oh, isn't this new? I don't think I've seen this one. I think this is new, leads to gossip about her inconsistency. Ava Green is also training as an astronaut in the new movie Proxima, but she is pulled back to Earth by her attachment to her daughter. There's nothing wrong with being attached to your child. Brad Pitt is going into outer space to find his father. Yeah, I'm sure he wants to save the human race too, but the reason why they're sending him is because it's his father. If you have a child, you will understand. If you have any member of your family, if you have a family, which I'm pretty sure every single person in this world does, even if, you don't know them yet, biology, that's how it works. Just because, I'm not even going to get into that tangent, but there's nothing wrong with being attached to somebody that you are related to. There's not even anything wrong with being attached to somebody that you're not related to and wanting to either save them from outer space or come back to Earth to be with them. That's not an out of the blue loop. That's not just something that women do. That's something that humans do, because that's part of how we are wired as humans. Is we want to be around other people. We want to be close and connected to the people that we love. There's nothing wrong with that. In both cases, these women are out of place in the malest of men's worlds. This person is sexist. This is one of the most ridiculous articles I have ever read in my entire life. The maleness of men's worlds, they are in outer space. They're not in a man's world. When on Earth did, worlds just become dominated by men? I don't know. Sausage fest. Okay. Apparently outer space and being an astronaut is a sausage fest that women aren't allowed to. I don't ever think men have a problem with women showing up. When there's all dudes and a woman comes in, I'm pretty sure some of the men are kind of relieved. Half the time. Maybe more than half the time. I don't think any man has a problem with a woman going into outer space. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, I haven't seen Lucy in the Sky. And this other movie, where is it? Proxima. I haven't seen that one either. I don't even know if those ones have come out yet. But seriously, women are out of place in this maleness of men's world. I don't even think this person can talk on that. Lucy in the Sky is loosely based on Lisa Novak as a NASA astronaut who was charged in 2007 with attempt kidnap of her NASA lover's girlfriend. But veteran astronaut Marsha Ivins, I'm probably pronouncing this terribly, has already pushed back against the movie, questioning why this rare story about a female astronaut opted to show one losing her marbles. Because that's interesting. Do you want to just show a movie about somebody showing up to work and going through a normal day of work? Let's sit at the let's go to the office. Let's go sit on the computer. Let's, do this, and this. Ooh, NASA astronaut stuff. Ooh, let's, maybe they're an aerospace engineer and they're designing, the spaceship. Oh, okay, let's go do that. Then let's go home at 5 p.m. or let's get off work at 5. Let's go sit in traffic for, maybe half an hour. Let's get home, take our shoes off, maybe have something to drink, start cooking dinner, sit down, eat, watch some TV and go to sleep, then get back up and do it again the next day. That's not interesting. Showing someone losing their marbles or, getting to that place that, that thing in life where it's like you have this issue, which is the way stories are set. You have the setting. Okay, here's all the characters, here's the world that they are. Then you have the rising action. Okay, so that's where the problem is introduced. Character A, character B, and character C, possibly. Character A is usually the hero, the protagonist. Character B is usually the villain. Okay, character A is trying to go up this uphill. Character B is saying no. And also, this doesn't have to be a person. This could be a theme. This could be, man versus society. It doesn't always have to be man versus man. It could be man versus themselves. This is something I'm assuming is man versus themselves. So, she's trying to do something happens, something good in her way. They reach that climactic moment where something happens, and then that's, usually where the arc happens for the character. They either go one direction or they go the other. Maybe she comes, something happens, she comes to resolution within herself, she kind of breaks down, comes to, okay, well, this or this the conflict is solved, then you have the falling action, the conclusion. And, her coming to terms with whatever that thing was, and then the conclusion is how the story ends, and we say goodbye to the characters. That's how stories work. That's how they are told. That is interesting. If you don't have that thing that's going to make the character go on that journey, what are we watching? We're watching somebody go to work until, 9 to 5, go home and do it again the next day. What's interesting about that? Come on. Could the answer lie behind the camera? Apart from Proxima, all of these films were directed and written by men. There is nothing wrong with men writing and directing. Heck, more than half of the movies that I love, more than half of the movies that are, the reason why people go to the theater. People wouldn't want to make movies. People wouldn't want to write movies if they didn't think that they were fun, that they didn't think that they were interesting. And I'm pretty sure everyone that has seen a movie has had that experience, especially since if they work in film, has had that experience where they watched something and it changed, it changed their life. It changed who they are, how they think about things because of something that they saw, and that's why they wanted to pursue a career in that. And there's nothing wrong with men showing that they are talented and, wanting to express that, putting themselves out there and going and, risking it all to go work in Hollywood and go write and direct movies. Heck, you can look at the story of George Lucas. He did American Graffiti, and then he put, all of his cards on the table to make Star Wars. That was a make or break for his career, and he got lucky. He wrote a good story, and he told a good story, on film, and the way that they edited it together. That's why he won the Oscar for editing. It told one of the greatest stories ever told in, the history of mankind, in my opinion. And I know it's just, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so of course it's going to be, I'm a little bit biased on that. But George Lucas did that. A woman didn't do that. George Lucas did. That was his story. Yes, his wife helped him a lot because she was an editor his wife at the time was an editor. And I'm sure he had a lot of women in his life helping him. He had, experiences with his mother, and, I'm pretty sure when he was a kid watching Flash Gordon on the TV, and his mom, might have been the one that turned the TV on for him. And, she probably bought him all of the space toys that he had when he was a kid. I'm sure his father did too, but every single person out there has a mother. Every man out there has a mother. They might not have sisters, but they 100% have a mother. There are women in men's life that are going to, affect the way that they think about certain things. That's just a fact of life. So saying that all of these films were directed and written by men, congratulations. There's absolutely nothing wrong with men being good at their job. There's not. This year, we have one of the first genuine female-made space movies. Claire Denis's High Life, and look how it blew those gender frontiers apart with Juliet, I don't know how to say her last name, as a sexually vicarious scientist, and Robert Pattinson as a gentle dad. Okay, so this girl is a bimbo, and Robert Pattinson is dad. Okay, I shouldn't say bimbo, but I mean that. To describe an astronaut, so it's some chick that is sexually vicarious scientist. Okay, what does that have to do with her being an astronaut? That has absolutely no effect on, outer space. When I watched Alien with Sigourney Weaver, sex didn't come into it at all. No, the men were, all of them, they all acknowledge, we're all here to work. Yeah, half the time we have to be in these, sleeping pods where we're all in our undies, we're all in our PJs, and then they get out and they go about their business because they are out in space to work, and it is dangerous being in outer space, and it takes a lot to keep them alive. Do you think her sexuality came into play with her, surviving and defeating an alien? No! If all they were worried about is that, they all would have died. So, that is how you describe this. This is this person selling this movie to me. I'd never heard about this movie before, but look how it blew those gender frontiers with Juliet, still don't know how to say her name, as a sexually vicarious scientist. What does her sexuality have anything to do with her qualifications or ability to be an astronaut? Absolutely nothing. And Robert Pattinson as a gentle dad. Okay, congratulations. Robert Pattinson is a father. He was a father in Twilight too. Doesn't mean that movie's good. There has always been more enlightened strain of space film from Star Trek to Interstellar. What? Okay, so now this person is going to bring in Star Trek. I like how this person is, like, hating on toxic masculinity, which that's usually what, you know, people that, when they're going after space films, they usually do go after Star Trek because of all the stuff, you know, with Captain Kirk, and, you know, there's stuff that happened back in the 60s, which, I mean, I didn't feel like any of that was sexist, but I know that's usually what they go and they highlight, which is ridiculous. I mean, if anything, that was, you know, let's go light years into the future and show what, you know, humanity is capable of. But that's interesting that this person, now all of a sudden Star Trek and Interstellar is good, or that's good, even though, you know, in Interstellar, to, you know, to put his own point, he gets mad because women are emotional in space films. Anne Hathaway was a wreck in Interstellar. Yeah, Matthew McConaughey was too, but so was Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway's entire motivation for doing things was because she wanted to get back to the dude that she was in love with, who, I mean, I'm not going to say the end of the movie. And Matthew McConaughey was, like, crying the entire movie because he had to leave his children. Yeah, that got me in the feels too, because, you know, if my dad ever had to do something like that, I would be a complete wreck. But I like how biased this person is. But it is often set far into the future. Of course, it's space travel. We can't do that yet. Oh my, of course it's going to be set in the future. God, this person, every time I read an article, I'm like, why are they doing this? Like, they really need to find a new career. We might be getting closer, but time still feels light years away. That's because we don't have the technology yet. Oh my God. We cannot travel through outer space the way that they do in movies. We don't have the science there. But if that's what that person is talking about, they really need to do their research if they're going to write an article about astronauts and outer space and space travel. But if they're referring to this as the toxic masculinity, what? There's nothing to complain about. Coming from a woman, Steve, there is nothing to complain about. Steve, you don't get to go out there and say, you know, put words in our mouth. You don't get to go out there and say, oh, well, this is sexist to women. You're not a woman. You don't know what it's like to have, you know, well, from a woman's perspective, maybe you've experienced it being a man and, you know, having, you know, something happen to you, being sexist stuff happen to you as a man. But as a woman, never watching any of these space films did I feel, oh wow, she's too emotional, oh, he's too masculine. No. The only time, out of all these movies that were listed that I have seen, the only time I got, you know, a little frustrated in the movies for the woman was in Contact, because all those people were trying to blow up and stop her from going into outer space. None of the astronauts were, you know, giving her shit. Heck, even the astronaut on the first machine that's supposed to send you into outer space, even he said he felt bad that he was going instead of her. But he was the most qualified for the job. He'd been into outer space before, even though she was the one that heard the things from outer space. And then guess what? She ends up going anyway because the billionaire dude believed in her and the entire world rallied behind her. That was the only point where it was, you know, kind of offensive, but it made sense to the story and it was there as a plot device. Movies do that. When you are telling a story, there are going to be barriers in the way of the hero accomplishing their goal. That's how you tell a story. That's how you make things interesting. But that is lost on modern society, apparently, on people that are in Hollywood nowadays. You can go and watch the new stupid Star Wars movies. Rey has beaten the villain in every single movie. What risk is there now? None. I'm not afraid for her. I'm not afraid for her life because guess what? She's a Mary Sue that apparently, without any training whatsoever, knows how to use the Force. Never even heard of a Jedi mind trick? Guess what she uses in the first movie? She beats the villain in the first film. There is no risk there. There is nothing that makes you invested in the character on their journey because there is nothing blocking their past. There is nothing for the character to overcome. It's ridiculous. But you want to go and say this Brad Pitt movie about a dude finishing his father's or going out and trying to finish his father's mission as well as finding his father. You want to say that's toxic masculinity? This article is the definition of toxic masculinity, Steve. Well, everyone, that article is absolutely ridiculous. The only thing that writer achieved was exposing his own toxic masculinity. And, yeah, so I'm excited for Ad Astra. As a woman, I am not offended in whatever way, shape, and form this dude is claiming that us women should be offended by. And all of those movies listed that I have seen, not offended once. That there is a male astronaut. I'm not offended that Brad Pitt is in a movie about a guy that's an astronaut trying to go off and save his father and save the human race. I'm not offended whatsoever, but according to this toxic man, I should be. And I'm oppressed because of it. But yeah, Steve, you lead a very, very sad life, and I really think that you should either watch these movies, maybe take a step back, get your head out of Hollywood's ass, and actually interact with real world people and learn what toxic masculinity actually is. Because, well, I mean, just take a hard look in the mirror. That's what it is. And yeah, everyone, let me know what you thought about this article in the comment section below. If you are excited for this movie, let me know, because I'm really excited for this movie. I think it looks great. I'm a sucker for, you know, movies about saving your dad, that kind of stuff, because I love my dad. I have the best daddy in the entire world. But anyway, everyone, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, that's okay too. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Make sure you click that little bell. That way you get notifications when I do other videos and live streams. And until next time, everyone, have a great rest of your day, and may the force be with you, because we are really, really, really going to need it. Bye, everyone. What's up, everyone? It's Anna, also known as That Star Wars Girl, and I have an Etsy store, so if you've ever wanted to own a print of my artwork, this is the place to go. As you can see, I have a lot of recognizable characters, from horror films to heroes to Star Wars characters. Some of the notable characters I have on here are Darth Vader, which I did a couple live streams painting, so you can own a print of this painting. I also have Luke Skywalker, the binary sunset version, one of my favorite scenes in the original New Hope movie. I have Darth Maul, which Ray Parks himself actually complimented me on Instagram. And then last but certainly not least, Ahsoka Tano. So if you want to own any of these prints, go right on over to my Etsy store. Again, that's The Art of Anna, That Star Wars Girl, or TSWG for short. Thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of your day. What's up, everyone? I have a P.O. box, so if you want to send me some mail, go ahead and send it to Anna, That Star Wars Girl, or TSWG for short, at P.O. Box number 28171, Santa Ana, California, 927998171. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much.